Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back to the eastern wing of the Stink Bug Works, that super secret research and development division of DaddleJet Laboratories, where we sit around all day and we invent things and we make stuff. As you can see, inventing and making. I actually shot a coat of primer on it to check it out. I attacked this with some sandpaper to get it to look a little bit more like this side. This one didn't have the right break. And I went through to the bare wood in a couple of places. But I did glue on the transom. You know, my original thoughts of this was I was going to use the original wood. But I didn't like the transom because the transom went on early in the build, and the skins and the bottom of the hull went on later, so you saw all that end grain. So if you were to mask it off, like I'm going to do on this one, and just put a piece of tape on it and cut it with a razor blade, you'd see the edges of the sheeting. So the solution to that would be to paint, to roll the paint over the edge and end it here, but that's a lot of masking, and it's just a pain in the arse. So that's one reason I opted for just putting a veneer on here in the first place. When I had it taped up and, the skeleton in there and painted, I'd pulled the deck tape off. It looked pretty good. Yeah, there were some rough spots and some things that needed some attention, but it'll get them throughout the process. But we're getting there. So this morning, I'm going to mix up epoxy and do a wipe. I'm going to wipe all the exposed wood areas, and any other place I think that needs just a little touch up, If I got some sanding marks that are particularly deep, I can, give it a wipe. Although this sandable primer is almost like thinned out spray-on putty. You put that stuff on and give it a couple of days to dry, and it covers up a lot of this sanding marks and such that, you can go over it the next time with a finer grade of sandpaper and get just an ultra smooth finish. I want this, I want this to look like a plastic boat with wood inlays rather than a wood boat with plastic inlays. So that's part one of my work. I need to do is do an epoxy wipe. There's a couple of pieces of wood like this here that are completely exposed, so I need to go in and seal them up a little bit. Part two of what I'm going to do is to start working on the box for this. I finally got these motor mounts, and how these work is there will be frame rails a distance apart that'll be determined by the spacing between this little bitty hole and this little bitty hole, and this little bitty hole in the lower mount that gets glued to the frame rail. So that will set the width of the frame rails. Then they're going to be wider than these rails here. So I'm going to have to build part of the box that drops down into here so I have room to hide that oil pan. In fact, the bottom of the box is going to have to rest on this centerpiece here. That will be easy enough to do, but that's what's going to determine the ultimate height of things, is the oil pan to the motor mount. So I'm going to build a box for this, put these, motor mounts in. I seem to have lost one. I can't find it. However, the guy was nice enough. He sent me like 4 sets of them. This motor, I got to looking at it, is going to be horrendously tall. I mean, it's going to be horrendously tall. This whole intake manifold is taller than the engine. But boats used tunnel rams, so there you go. Tunnel rams. That pretty much, let me tell you, this can take that. In fact, this thing's strong. This thing's strong. If I hit something solid, it might hurt something solid. This thing is like a rock. It's solid. There you go, boys and girls. I'm going to go mix up epoxy. Until next time, jet out.